Good evening, gorgeous beings of light. This is Elmara coming to you with miracle number 83 in our 100 Miracles in 100 Days project. Very late again today, so let's just begin by taking a deep breath, as deep as you can, into your belly and filling up your lungs with air and chi, and in through the nose and out through the mouth. And bringing yourself into this present moment. And again. And I want you to continue that breath in through the nose and out through the mouth while I tell you today's miracle. And I just want to share that this is an extraordinary time of awakening happening on Earth. Till I'm a little bit tired from the energies coming in. There is massive, massive energies coming in. And if you are not meditating or doing something to raise your frequency every day, I can assure you they're probably knocking you off your feet. Even I, who meditates a lot, I meditate sometimes from 5 to 10 hours a day. And if I don't get the minimum 5 hours in most days, like I didn't this morning, I had stuff I had to get done, and I probably only got 1 to 2 hours in, and I have been like someone has knocked me off my feet all day. Thankfully, that noise that I was complaining about yesterday was actually on top of our roof. It's my landlord cleaning the roof, and the machine and the noise and everything that's going on is right above me. He's kind of moved from his end of the house all the way down to mine, so it was fine. I haven't had the energy to do it all day. But I also had, a message from someone who's really struggling. It's important to remember the other thing that's happening is that the energy will be pushing anything that is out of alignment with source that needs to come up so that you can be free to live your richest, most abundant life. That's going to be happening. Now, if you listen to these activations regularly, the energy that's encoded in my voice will help raise your frequency and help you just do better. That's not good English. You will be able to cope better. It's probably a better way of saying that. But just breathing consciously in through the nose and out through the mouth, you will be letting go of anything in your energetic system that's out of alignment. Now, I don't care if you don't listen to me, but you need to listen to something that's a higher frequency than yourself, and every day to help raise your frequency and get rid of the stuff that's no longer in alignment with who you are. I personally don't know anyone else who's meditating 5 to 10 hours a day during this. Actually, I do, but she doesn't do any work online for you to do it. She meditates for hours, like a whole day, 2-3 days in a row. I just still have pussycats to feed and a few other things that bring me out of mine. So just important to notice that although it just seems, that's the reason we started these 100 Miracles in 100 Days, was to help people raise their frequency through this crappy time. So the miracle is just a lovely story for you to listen to and hopefully get some tips and tricks and life hacks to have a better life for yourself. But it's the energy that's encoded in my voice that will raise your frequency. And if you get irritated by it, I've had a couple of people say, oh, look, I just can't stand all that yabbering you're doing, Elle. That's a sign. That's a sign that the energy that I'm speaking about is bringing the stuff to the surface that's irritating you. Like we all have to own everything that we feel. And whatever you feel, is what's going on inside of you. And therefore, if my yabbering, as it was called, is annoying you, it is a sign that is doing exactly what it's meant to, which is bring the stuff that's unhealed in you to the surface. Breathe for me, please. Bring your awareness into the breath. If you drift off, bring it back to the breath. If you're irritated by my yabbering, as they called it, about my beautiful miracles, if you're irritated by it, if you think it's yabbering, that's fine, but just breathe. Especially if it's irritating you, it's doing exactly what it's meant to do. So today I'm just going to tell you a quick story about my beautiful friend Robbie Jasko. I've never met Robbie and I'm madly in love with him. He's a bit like my friend Udo from France. I've known them for maybe over a decade, well over a decade now, and we've just always communicated through Facebook and we've never met. Both of them I've spoken to on the phone once or twice, but mostly it's just communicating online. But, you know, that just proves that you sometimes can feel connections to people without necessarily physically having to meet them. And I definitely have a beautiful connection to both of these men. Robbie Jasko had a group, and I can't even remember the name of the group. Had an interesting name. And I don't even know if he hangs out in it that much himself anymore. But this was like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, leading up to 2012. Something about come play with me or something. Anyway, great guy. I met another gorgeous friend in Australia, Alison, who was in his group. So, you know, and I'm still friends with her more than a decade later, but I've met her physically a couple of times, which is lovely. Again, but have a really beautiful, beautiful connection with Ali. And that just comes from, you know, being able to feel people through the words that we speak. And so, but anyway, Robbie Jasko, back to him again. This is about his beautiful puppy dog, Cocker Spaniel, called Junior Jasko. Apparently, I didn't know this, Cocker Spaniels are known for having seizures, and Junior would have, you know, 3 to 4 a year or something. And then in 2014, Junior had 5 seizures. It was either 5 or 7 seizures in the first couple of months of 2014. By February 2014, Junior had 5 seizures, which was more than what he was used to having all year. The doctors would say that, you know, that there was medication that they could give him, but it was just something that was part of that breed. I said to Robbie, send me a photo where I can see his eyes. I want you to take note of this for any of you who have pets that you love dearly, because animals do not have an ego. Not like we do, that's going to go, oh, that's a load of crap, you know, because it's not really. This was a big miracle that happened. And so he sends me a photo of Junior, and I just, through his photo, I just looked into his eyes and said, now listen here, Junior, your daddy really loves you. You've got to stop these seizures. Just because every other dog in your breed gets them doesn't mean you have to get them. Just remember you're an infinitely powerful being of light. Don't buy into all the bullshit that's, you know, just because your breed gets seizures doesn't mean you have to start getting them, okay? So stop that now. And I just sent him lots of divine energy through his eyes into his soul. Junior does not have another seizure for 6 months. And it was a number of years before Junior actually had another one. And Robbie kind of said that he just had his first seizure, and it was like 2 or 3 years later or something. And I said to him, Robbie, I'm getting he's been around chemicals. And he goes, no. I goes, oh, hang on a minute. They painted the block of units next door and they evacuated all the people in that unit, but they didn't evacuate us. I went, yeah, that's it, love. That's what's caused it. And so, one, that proves that chemicals are really shit for your animals as well as shit for humans, but we still keep plonking them in us. So be careful of that. But 2, the main point of this miracle, I want to share with you is that if your animal gets sick, I mean, we're so being trained again, like humans have been trained to run off to a doctor. We've also been trained to run our animals off to a vet and get shit put on them. You know, they put that stuff on the back of the neck to stop them getting fleas or whatever. You could put a drop of a drop of geranium on the back of the neck would stop fleas. And I think it's a drop of lemongrass will do all those other things that it's supposed to do. You could do some research on that. And there's a lot of people that go, you know, aromatherapy oils are terrible for animals. You need to find a vet that uses aromatherapy oils. And I just want to reiterate that myself and my animals have not been to a doctor or vet in 20 or 30 years. Because, you know, and some smart ass will be that goes, well, how irresponsible are you? I went, well, no, how judgmental are you, darling? You know, just because you don't know any better ways to care for your pets and your loved ones doesn't mean there isn't any, you know. And so just be mindful of that. But the moral of this story is that animals don't have an ego, and you can just take them gently, look into their eyes. I remember when I had Fat Black, my cat that I had for like 22 years before he just descended to cat heaven, I think, because we never ever found his body anywhere. But about 17, 18 years old, he started like was in a lot of pain, you know, and I just said to him, listen, baby, you don't have to stay here any longer. I took him by the face, gently looked into his eyes and went, you don't have to stay here for me. You've been a wonderful, wonderful friend to me. And if you're in pain, don't stay here for me. Please don't stay here for me. And he kind of looked at me and went, meow, and took off. And the next day he was running around like a bloody kitten again, you know. So you can, especially if you're a healer, you can communicate directly with your pet's souls through looking at them through the eyes. And in this case, because Robbie's in, I don't know where he is, somewhere in America, I can't remember now. He was in Michigan, and I think he's somewhere else now. And, you know, I'm here, and he just sent me a photo that I could see his eyes. So, and also, too, sometimes I get called on when I'm working with animals to help the parents or let the human owners let go. So just be aware of that, too. You're not always going to save every pet because it's their time to go home, and it's because the humans have something to learn from that. But that's what happened in that instance, and the miracle that I wanted to tell you is to be able to look directly in your pet's eyes and speak to them, and speak to their soul is what you're doing when you look into their eyes, and you'll often find that they will heal themselves overnight, especially cats and dogs. They're magnificent beings. So, alrighty. Take a big breath in and out through the mouth. Sorry, it's a couple of days since I connected you or did the first step of my fifth dimension activation. But I'm just going to remind you to breathe in, bring your awareness into your hands. As you breathe in, as you breathe out, I want you to point your hands to the sun and tie the energy around the sun. Breathe in and bring the energy from the sun down through the crown. Breathe it out into your body and take the last 5% down into the earth and tie it around the core of Mother Earth. Breathe in and bring all that earth energy back up. Breathe it out into your body. Take the last 5% of that up to the sun. Breathe in. Fill your body with source light as you're breathing out. Take the last 5% down into earth. Breathe in, bring earth energy back up with all the minerals and nutrients and everything you need to sustain your physical life here on earth. Breathe it out. And take the last 5% up to the sun. And just keep doing that while I just mention that it is best to do that standing barefoot on Mother Earth first thing in the morning. But if it's snowing where you are or you can't get outside, you can do it inside and imagine you're standing barefoot on earth. And if you're crook, you can just lay on your side. You just lay on your side, and so that the energy will flow up and down your spine. And again, imagine you're standing barefoot on Mother Earth. It connects up all your meridian lines between the earth and the sun, brings you into alignment with both, and it's much faster to manifest. And you do that by just going, how can I? How can I meet my soulmate? How can I earn $5,000 right now, etc., etc. Alrighty, so we're just going to have a minute blast of fifth dimensional energy, just under a minute. If you want to know more about that, go back to, say, the early 50s, or, 50s in the miracles, or we've explained it in more deeper. When it first turns over from awareness activation to the fifth dimension, that'll be the clearest explanation of it there. Just breathe. Let go of everything that's outside this moment. Know that you're an infinitely powerful, rich, abundant, gorgeous, gorgeous, sexy, radiant being of light. You're not broken. You don't need fixing. You just need to remember the magnificence of who you truly are and who you've always been. Righty, love, love, love. See you tomorrow.